This is a nice balanced coffee, kind of a, a true medium roast, I'd call it. It has a nice fruit-toned acidity. Kind of a caramelly citrus, if we can combine those two terms. I'd say the citrus is maybe like orange, perhaps. Kind of integrated brightness with the general balance of the cup. The flowers have a kind of a little herby edge to them. Sometimes we'll use the term Freesia for a kind of a spicy flower.
Freesia?
Yeah. Well, I think our resident floral aroma expert, Jason, who has spent many years smelling flowers, I'm serious, systematically, and I think he introduced Freesia to us, but after that I found Freesia. You can order a Freesia scent online. At any rate, it's a kind of a sweet, slightly spicy flower.
I like it.
That we're getting a kind of a quiet, citrusy. What are you getting?
Yeah, this has overall, I'm probably way less detailed, but overall I have is a very nice floral and citrus scent to this coffee. I will say that. I haven't tasted it yet.
Little flattens out in the cup.
Yeah, better.
Really,
the aroma
really
and
flattens
the
out.
taste
yeah.
difference are significant. Yeah.
Well, it's just
Such promise.
a lot of the life goes out of it in the cup,
it
may
cool.
come back
Yeah,
as it cools.
probably too
Yeah. Well, this is a kind of coffee that I used to teach cupping classes and with consumers, and sometimes they'd say, aroma notes, flowers, citrus, it's coffee. And that's sort of, I'm afraid that's what I'm not about the aroma, because there was quite a bit going on, but in the cup, it's coffee. Yeah. Kind of a balance of sweet, bitter, and tart, but not a lot of flavor notes. Not a lot of action in terms of flavor and aroma. Well, a lot of what we call taste, of course, is aroma that's carried down the back of our throat. Now, what seems to happen in coffee, this is my theory, personally, that the aromatics combine with the basic tastes of sweet and bitter and sour, and which are very complex in coffee. The basic taste structure can be very complex, and it shifts as the coffee cools. So a lot of times the aroma it's more difficult to pick out the aromatic notes because of the power and immediacy of the basic taste structure. Good mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
This, again, is a kind of cup that I think I've used this term before, we might call a lazy cup. It doesn't do a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't offend, but it doesn't please particularly. It doesn't call attention. If you're unlike number 3, If you're drinking it, the first cup in the morning, you think, well, good, this is coffee, it'll get me out the door. But
I thought you were doing a fine job of not saying much, and I have to say, this is, I hate to damn with faint praise. I mean, there's not a whole lot wrong that I'm tasting, but it's not a
Right.
bad cup of coffee or anything, but it's not, there's nothing about it that, and unfortunately, it doesn't even have a lot of, like, let me just throw out a name, a Dunkin' Donuts, where there was nothing particularly distinctive about it, but as a blend, it certainly was, a nice cup of coffee. This isn't quite that either. This has just got, I'm not getting a lot of enough distinction
Right.
at all of any kind.
what are we tasting?
Got to reach around. This is Hawaiian Islands blend, right? Hawaiian Islands. It just says Hawaiian Islands. Light roast, delightfully bright, floral with a smooth finish. And claims light roast, and any other information about it,
What's the roaster?
Papa Nicholas. They claim that there's a single bean directly from Hawaii in it. I believe that's correct. I'm sure they would be legally careful, but it says Hawaiian Islands. It does not mention Kona specifically at all.
So it doesn't say anything about Hawaiian Islands blend. Does that suggest, I guess, that it comes, all the coffees in there came from Hawaii,
Man,
right? Because it doesn't say Hawaiian style blend.
Yeah,
It says
I
Hawaiian
know.
Islands blend.
Wow,
That would mean
that's-
that all of the, you know, I think I understand what's going on. There's a huge coffee company on Kauai. It's a farm, huge coffee farm and company, Kauai Coffee.
Yeah.
It was one of these large farms in the Hawaiian Islands that were put in to replace sugar or pineapple after sugar and pineapple were no longer profitable in Hawaii because of the
Right,
high labor
labor.
costs, etc. And so they tried, a lot of corporations that own these farms tried to replace it with coffee, with some success, but not a lot. In the case of Kauai, it's a very well-run farm. It's huge, it's gigantic, and it's very low elevations, and most of the trees are very ordinary varieties of trees, so they don't have a lot to work with there. And they crank out, to tell you the truth. That's not fair. They turn out a lot of good, decent coffee. Now, I'm guessing that a lot of the coffee that's in here is from Kauai Coffee. As I say, there are some other large farms, like there's one on Maui that's Maui grown, it's called. The coffees there are a little more distinctive. Kauai Coffee is trying to do some high-end coffees. They're kind of interesting. In other words, they have smaller parts of the farm where they're growing different varieties of coffee, like the original Typica, and trying to process them more carefully. So this may all be off base, but there are several larger
be it.
farms. There's one in Molokai. There's one on Oahu, not so large. It could be coffees from any one of those farms. So decent, cleanly processed, low elevation coffee brought to a medium roast. That's what we got.
And by no means is this let me reference another coffee that we tasted not too long ago. It was Maxwell House. And if I recall, the term of my colleague was undrinkable. and but I think it was a well. You also said it was a well engineered, blend and everything, skillfully blended.
But that was Robusta.
Right, that was Robusta. This is nothing like that, though. Regardless of this is nothing like that.
Yeah,
This is a drinkable coffee, but it's not. But
Right.
that just doesn't. It lacks any kind of distinction.
You brought up one of the points I should have started with on this show, which is that Kona blends are always Arabica. So if you're in a supermarket and you're looking for all Arabica coffee, you look at, I'm talking about the supermarket cans or jars, that what you look for to get all Arabica is either 100% Colombian, or you could get a Kona blend.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Kona blends, they will put any Robusta in. It'd be 100% Arabica.